Good morning, everybody. So today's video, top 10 winter designer fragrances for 2025 going into 2026. This is not a regular day for me. I always do my recording on the weekend, and it's actually Thursday, but because it is a weekday, my wife has the office, so she has the room right now. All right, so first one, and not in numerical order, this one here is just, it's chef's kiss. It's amazing. Unfortunately, discontinued, but you can still get it online. Prada Amber Intense. Amber Intense. Those two words. That's what it is. You're going to get myrrh, ladamum. There is amber. There is saffron, sandalwood. There's going to be some leather, vanilla, patchouli, musk, tonka bean, geranium. Like, there's a lot going on. But the main takeaways is just warm, resinous amber, myrrh, ladamum. You're going to get that saffron. I feel like there's going to be a little bit more spice to it. You're going to get some wood, so that sandalwood and the patchouli. Leather, you may get it. I don't. Just sexy, but very classy. This is for your modern day gentleman. So someone who knows how to carry themselves like a gentleman, act, who's prim and proper, knows how to dress for the occasion, who's all about, you know what, and I've been saying it a lot as of late, manners maketh man. Really, that kind of guy. This is long lasting as well. This is a strong fragrance though, really is a strong fragrance. So less is more with this one here. Number 2 is also quite sexy, but classy, and that's going to be Mercedes-Benz Night. This is a, I don't want to say a knockoff, but there is a lot of comparisons to Tom Ford Noir Extreme. There is. I smelled that one, but I did have a decan of the Extreme, and it is a really fantastic fragrance. This is a good alternative. It's going to be cheaper, not as cheap as it used to be, because this was hyped to death by a lot of people, like the influencers, including people like myself. I don't have a large following, and I don't really have a lot of pull or say, but a lot of us have been plugging this one over the years, and for a very good reason. This is sweet with vanilla. It is woody with guaiac wood, sandalwood, and there's also going to be this patchouli, cardamom, lavender, and there's going to be a little bit of orange blossom. But for the most part, just woody. A lot of sandalwood and guaiac wood with a lot of sweet, creamy vanilla, and you are going to get that cardamom. The cardamom does warm it up, and it does spice things up. The orange blossom, a little bit, and this is actually pretty long lasting. I don't know if this has been reformulated. I have like an original bottle, but like this I would get like 9-10 hours. It may have been reformulated. You might get like 6 or 7. Even then, if it has been 6-7 hours, you really can't complain. Not everything has to be beast mode. This and this, they're both great suit and tie events. They're great formally, and they're also great date or lounge fragrances. Number 3, this is quite masculine. It is quite gentlemanly, but it is super masculine. I gotta say super because one of my subscribers has been saying that, you know, for a middle-aged man, super is not what you use. Well, super whoop-de-doo. I don't take myself nor this hobby too seriously, but this is super or just quite masculine. Dunhill British Leather. This is an acquired fragrance. It's not going to be for everybody. It's not one of my favorites in this video. You have to be about, like, you got to be a burly masculine guy to really pull this one off. I am not really that. I'm just like your everyday average guy, but this is a lot of leather. The leather has this smoky aspect. It is also quite woody with cypress, sandalwood. There's going to be some vetiver, patchouli, mate, cardamom as some of the spices, and there is also going to be this unusual note in a fragrance such as this. Woody, earthy, and quite leathery, but there is going to be hazelnut. Not exactly like a note that you would expect on a fragrance like this, something that's like uber masculine. Is uber okay, or should I say super? It's not a note that you would expect in a fragrance like this. So just leather, spices, woods, and I'd say a little bit of that mate as well to kind of like add a slight green aspect. Number 4. This is going to be the original formulation. I got real lucky. I don't use it all that often, and when I do, it's sparingly and for special occasions. YSL La Nuit de l'Homme. This has been reformulated, and people say it doesn't last as long as it used to, but I look at it this way. If you can get 5-6 hours out of fragrance, or even 4 to 5, that's really not so bad. It also depends on like the situation, where you're going and stuff like that, but maybe just bring a decant. This had such a cult following back in the day. Like when I was just watching, and I'm an OG, I'm an old grandfather figure in this community. I'm just an old guy. This was so hyped to death back in the day. You just get this lavender, this iris, this cardamom combination. The cardamom for me is what adds this warm, spicy aspect, but it sweetens it up a little bit, and it adds this sensuality to it. There are woody notes of Virginian cedar, vetiver, and apparently like the new formulation, I think it's got caraway, and it doesn't have iris. But I do get this waxy, powdery iris. So maybe in like the reformulated one, it doesn't have it. I have smelled like not the original. I have smelled like the newer formulation, like maybe about a year ago before Hudson's Bay closed down, unfortunately. And they did smell the same, in all honesty. But just sexy. Sexy, but classy. For me, this is like, you could wear this with a suit and tie to a formal evening out, but it's also a great date fragrance. If you're, whether it's first date, third date, eighth date, it's just great for that. Number 5, very sexy, but very classy. Givenchy Gentleman Society Ombre. So this came out this year in 2025, and one of the best releases, period. This is not a fragrance for everybody. This is a fragrance for a modern day gentleman, for a proper gentleman. I am not what you would consider a proper gentleman. Off camera, hey, listen, I got some dirty dad jokes that some of y'all have seen, but off camera, vulgarity is something that I kind of use a little bit. But when I wear something like this, I feel proper. I feel mature. I feel a lot classier. There's going to be orris to add this powdery undertone. You're going to get French narcissus, tobacco, vanilla to sweeten things up, including woods of sandalwood, 2 different types of vetiver, and the opening has like juniper, clary sage, and nutmeg. For the most part, it's going to be woods, orris to add that powdery undertone, vanilla, and tobacco. Very sexy, very classy, and this is beast mode. Like, a gentleman doesn't overspray. A gentleman really does not care about compliments. He's not seeking validation and stuff like that. He's more subtle with it. This is like 2-4 sprays at the most. You don't need people to know that you're entering a room. Your confidence, your swagger, your demeanor, the way that you carry yourself, that is what matters most than like just like overspraying and just like telling people, I'm here with your fragrance. Why don't you let your energy, your swagger do that? That's what a gentleman does. Not like some insecure guy who just does like 10, 20 sprays. Yeah, shots fired. I know. Business casual, sense of style, all the way to a tuxedo. Number 6 is going to be one of the more mainstream ones in this video, and I would say like actually quite mass appealing, but it still has this gentlemanly aspect, but it also has a bit of a ruggedness to it as well. Burberry Hero Eau de Parfum EDP. So a lot of people complain or just make fun of my parfum. As a French Canadian, and I will say Northern Ontario, we kind of see things a little bit differently than people from Montreal, Quebec, or like from the province of Quebec. So Montreal or Quebec City, Sherbrooke, places like that, especially if they're from France. Parisian French is the correct French. We just kind of made it our own language. Very much like how the Cajuns in Louisiana did with theirs. But this is quite nice. There's like 3 different types of cedar. There's going to be olibanum and benzoin to add this ambery but resinous touch. A little bit of pine needles. And something that I don't get, but you might, is going to be the incense. So for the most part, just very like ambery, woody with a little bit of spice. And again, some of you guys might get that smoky incense. I just don't. This for me is very versatile. A lot of these fragrances are very versatile. Some just might be a little bit more, including this one here. The last 4, 3 of them are going to be quite masculine, but they all have this gentlemanly aspect. But number 7 came out last year, and it's more on the masculine side with this gentlemanly edge to it. But wow, a lot of people do complain that it just doesn't last. But that's going to be Viktor and Rolf Spice Bomb Dark Leather. This is very much like Spice Bomb, but with just leather. The original had a lot of spices of like saffron, cinnamon, it had like nutmeg, it also had tobacco. This has all of those aspects, but you throw in the Olibanum with a dark leather and voila. So just the original Spice Bomb DNA, so a lot of cinnamon, a lot of nutmeg. I think the original had saffron, this does not, but with this one here, it's like black pepper. But for the most part, it's very much cinnamon, then it's gonna be nutmeg, then maybe a little bit of pepper, but cinnamon, dark leather, and this Olibanum tobacco vibe. And less is more as well with this one here. I gotta correct myself. So if you're seeing this, boy, do I have to add this correction, because boy, did I screw up. It's not gonna be Dunhill Arabian Desert, it's actually Moroccan Amber. If you see Arabian Desert, it's actually darker than this here. So I may have added that mistakenly in the video. This is better than Arabian Desert in my opinion. I'm not a big rose oud lover. This is way better. There is oud in this, but it's not the main takeaway. The main takeaway is going to be the amber, including spices. So you're going to get saffron. There is ginger, cardamom, pepper. I think there is immortelle. A little bit of leather, which I don't really get. And there's also coffee tree. For the most part, it's just amber, warm spices with some woods. It's nothing new, but it's really nice. It's masculine, it's gentlemanly. Number 9, this is quite gentlemanly, but it's classy, and it is kind of sexy in my opinion. Came out in 1998, and my dad actually owned a bottle of this back in the day. I just wasn't ready for it back then because I hated it, but now I absolutely adore Boucheron's Jaipur Homme. This is really good. So in the opening, you get this cinnamon and cardamom as the warmest spices. Cinnamon is listed as a mid note, but I get it right in the opening, including a lot of this lemon and lime. This citrus kind of go away, within a couple minutes, and that's where like this vanilla Olibanum benzoin kind of kick in. And there's going to be like patchouli, cedar, and apparently they're like florals of like jasmine and carnation, and I think rose. I don't get the florals at all. I just get a lot of this amber, warm, spicy, vanillic aspect. Vanilla is not a listed note, but people do say that sometimes benzoin kind of could give off this sweet vanillic vibe. And if it does, then wow, it's really well done. And last but not least, this is both gentlemanly and it's also quite masculine. Pacha de Quartier Parfum. This is woody, it is ambery, it is boozy. The woods are going to be balsam fir along with sandalwood. There is going to be Indonesian patchouli leaf. The amber is going to be labdanum, including benzoin. There is a little bit of tonka bean to add a little bit of a sweet, creamy vibe, but for the most part, just woody, amber, then boozy. The boozy aspect, I don't know if that's cognac, if it's rum, if it's other. I don't know. It's in the boozy aspect. It's not like, let's say, a Trussardi Uomo the Red or La Cos pour Homme, but there is this slight boozy aspect that just makes this really nice. Makes this a little bit different. Very gently, but very manly. And guys, that is top 10 winter designer fragrances for 2025 going into 2026. If you like this very video, please drop me one of these. It does show YouTube and the algorithms that you like this type of content. Any reviews on these fragrances, if you want something a little bit more detailed, they will all be in the description box below. What videos to watch next? Well, if you want to see years prior of top 10 or top 5 winter designers, check out right here or right here. So guys, I think of a time, take care, and I will see you later. Thanks for watching, everybody.